So back a long time ago. I'm 83 now, and I guess this was when I was 11. So 72 years ago. Before that, from the time I was 6 or 7 on, I used to hang out with an entity that I called the man in the clouds. I didn't call him an entity. He was just my parents said imaginary friend, and then they started scolding me and saying, "Oh, Barbara, you're too old to have imaginary friends." Well, I came to know him as Maharaji Ningaroli Baba. Only later did I come to know him as that. But he hung out with me and taught me so much, and I didn't really question who he was. He was just loving and there and helpful. I grew up, I was born in 42, so I grew up just after World War II. And the horrors of Nazi Germany were coming to light. And they became a dinner table conversation to some degree because our family was Jewish. And my parents had their grandparents, their parents and grandparents' generation. Many of them were still in Russia and Poland. And stories, knowledge of who had perished in concentration camps was coming out. So my parents would talk about it. And they just said sometimes people do terrible things to other people. They didn't have any excuses, but they didn't have hatred either. But I was shaken by it. Why would people kill each other in such cruel ways? Old people, children, why would they do that? So I was a pretty normal little girl in many ways. Played with my friends, played jump rope, played with coloring books, did the things that small girls do. But after an hour or two, that would wear thin. And I'd go across the street from my house to a place where there were woods and meadows and a big pond, a little island in the pond. And I would go to that island where I knew I could be alone. It was just shallow water to get there. I actually built myself a raft that I could pull across the 10 feet of water from shore to the island. But once there, I was assured of privacy. And I didn't call it meditation then. I would just sit and ask the eternal questions. Who are we? Why are we here? Why are people so cruel to each other? What do we do about it? And this very loving voice began to teach me. He didn't identify himself. And I didn't question, do I really hear him? Am I hallucinating? A 6-year-old doesn't think like that. Just thank you for telling me this. So he began to speak to me of free will choice, that we could each choose what we did with what came to us in our lives, and that we could bring peace to our lives or hatred to our lives. And when people did cruel things, to bring peace didn't mean to condone that cruelty, but to find a peacefulness that did not hate them for doing. Yeshua's forgive them, for they know not what they did. And just letting go of hatred, watching the energy that came up, but the fear. So I spent a lot of time through those years hanging out with the man in the clouds. He's the one that really taught me meditation too. My first Vipassana teacher, although he certainly didn't call it that, but just profound mindfulness, moment-to-moment presence, watching things arise out of conditions and pass away, watching the relationship to what arises and passes away. Then, when I was 11 years old, about to leave elementary school, those days was kindergarten to sixth grade, about to go into seventh grade. And I had been spending more and more time hanging out there on that island and talking to him. And he said to me, "It's time for you to return to being fully human. You're spending too much time with spirit. Now it's time to be human. You're going to a new school. You'll make new friends, find new activities. I will always be available to you, but I will not be available in this conversational way we have, at least not for now. I'll come back at some later time, but no, I'll always be here." And then he said to me, and this confused me, he said, "Your name is Shanta Das. And when you know what your name means, you'll be ready to do your work in the world." Shanta Das. Well, I wrote this down in my 11-year-old journal. Diary. All little girls kept diaries in those days. I spelled it Shanti like sea shanty, Chanty, Shanti Das. And he says, "My name is Shanti Das." And of course, I had no idea what the name meant. There was no Google in those days to find things. Eventually, I think in junior high, 8th, 9th grade, I stumbled across the wasteland, in which there's a use of the phrase Shanti, 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 the peace that passes understanding. Okay, Das. What does Das mean? It took me a while longer to figure that out. I've never used that name publicly. I'm Barbara. That's all I need to be. But I've taken that name to heart in terms of Baba saying, when you understand what your name means, you'll be ready to do the work that you came to do. So he said to me recently, we are all Shantidas. We're all servants of peace. There's so much chaos in the world, and we can either add to the chaos or we can be servants of peace. And as your friend, I invite you to share that name with me. Shantidas. Can we all be Shantidas? Really be servants of peace. And what does that mean?